very good evening to you all. You're joining us on Prime TV News. I'm Dilani Jaitilaka. Let's have a look at the headlines first.
President underscores the need for a quality public transport service. Prime Minister elaborates on Asia's impact on the future world economy. Bodies of 4 fishermen of the capsized boat are recovered. 2 are missing. Disaster is still feared despite weakening winds of Hurricane Florence.
Now for news in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena has pointed out that it is essential that the public transport services should be made to win the praise of the commuters. The President made this reference during a discussion held at the President's office to maintain a streamlined transport service, uplifting the standard of the public transport service.
Discussions were held at the Presidential Secretariat this morning to look at the progress of the Sahasara pilot project, which was launched in 2016 to provide quality transport services to the country this year. The President's attention was focused on empowering the public transport service and the need to turn passengers in the alternative transport media into the public service. The President pointed out the importance of reducing congestion and ensuring the safety of the passengers, including the need for a broad program of public transport. The transport problem has a severe impact on the economy. As such, attention was focused on proper timely travel, high traffic congestion and the non-receipt of non-disciplinary services. Also, the lack of professional respect for the bus crew was among the issues discussed. This meeting particularly drew attention to changing the situation and creating a more efficient and formal public transport service in the country.
The Sri Lankan netball team that clinched the Asian Netball Championship met President Maithripala Sirisena today. Their meeting took place at the President's office.
The President appreciated the skill of the players who won the Asian Netball Trophy and extended his congratulations. The President thanked the netball players for the fame they brought to Sri Lanka, displaying their skills at the tournament. He showered his blessings to the players to achieve success in their future activities. The President assured them the full support of the government for their future endeavours. After this meeting, the President posed for a group photograph with the players. Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan men's team that won the 2018 Carom World Championships and the women's team who were the runners-up also met the President. Evaluating their talents, the President extended his greetings to them. Thereafter, he posed for a group photograph with them. In the meantime, the President nominated 2 new electoral organisers for the Sri Lanka Freedom Party this morning. Accordingly, the new Hambantota organiser of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is attorney Upali Mohotti. H.W. Gunasena received the letter of appointment from the President as the new Sri Lanka Freedom Party organiser of the Mulkirigala electorate of the Hambantota district.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has pointed out that the format of a new world economy will be shaped at the centre of Asia in the next few decades. As such, Premier Wickremesinghe said that ASEAN and the Asian economies have an important role in the Asian political situation.
The Prime Minister expressed these views at a discussion at the ASEAN World Economic Forum in Hanoi. It was held under the theme The Asian Geopolitical Character. Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the future of the Asian economy depends on the free navigation of the Indo-Pacific. Therefore, it is important for all to come together and follow a free ocean policy in line with the accepted standards. Views were also expressed on the challenges faced by the Asian region in the face of new economic trends. It has been emphasized that it is suitable to take basic steps with regard to the future program of expanding cooperation between ASEAN and Sri Lanka. This emphasis was laid during talks between Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and ASEAN Secretary-General Lim Jock Hoi. These talks were held on the sidelines of the ASEAN World Economic Forum in Hanoi, Vietnam. Special attention was drawn to Theravadi Buddhism prominent in many ASEAN countries. Ranil Wickremesinghe pointed out that Sri Lanka is the only country where Theravadi Buddhism prevails but is not a member of the ASEAN organization. The Prime Minister said that based on this foundation, Sri Lanka has the ability of working in close association with ASEAN nations. Views were also exchanged at this meeting on education and youth fields among ASEAN and Sri Lanka. Premier Wickremesinghe also had discussions with Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen. The Cambodian Prime Minister invited Sri Lankan entrepreneurs to come to his country to undertake business ventures. Priority should be given to launching business ventures between the two countries. Views were exchanged on the preparation of a mutual investment defense agreement. Visa regulations will be relaxed between the two nations. Both Prime Ministers agreed to release diplomatic and official passports from visa. The Cambodian Prime Minister recalled his visit to Sri Lanka in 1979. South Korean Foreign Minister Kang Kwang-wha has said that her country is willing to share experiences in the industrial and business information technology sectors with Sri Lanka. She expressed this consent during talks with Ranil Wickremesinghe held in Hanoi, Vietnam. The South Korean minister during the discussion said that South Korea has taken massive steps forward in the industrial and business sectors with respect to information technology. She declared South Korea's willingness to share these experiences with Asian countries, including Sri Lanka. The South Korean foreign minister referred to the priority that should be given in this respect during discussion of the Sri Lanka-South Korea Joint Economic Commission.
The post-mortem of the 4 fishermen who died after their boat encountered an accident in the sea has been conducted at the Karapitia Teaching Hospital. In the meantime, the Navy has launched an operation for the detection of the ship that had collided with the fatal fishing boat. This fishing trawler, Maliduputa, have ventured into the sea on the 10th of this month. There were 7 fishermen in this trawler. The trawler is reported to have collided with a ship the same night, and it is reported that the ship had sailed without stopping. Another passing-by ship had intimated this information to the Galle Naval Base. Accordingly, the Navy had been able to save the life of one of the fishermen. Bodies of 4 dead fishermen have been recovered. The rescued fishermen and the bodies of the dead fishermen were brought to the Karapitia Hospital last night. A search is in progress for the detection of the other fishermen. The Presidential Commission inquiring into corruption and malpractices that had taken place in Sri Lankan Airlines, Sri Lanka Catering and Mihin Lanka met today. Assistant Manager of the People's Bank, Chandrasiri Fernando, gave evidence at the Commission today. Chairman of the Commission, retired Supreme Court Judge Anil Gunaratne, informed the Senior State Counsel Dishna Warnakula to inquire into whether there are legal provisions for the government to issue direct bonds for selected financial institutions. She said that the government had issued bonds for a specialized objective. However, the judge said that it is simply cannot be legal. In the meantime, it was revealed at the Commission yesterday that the Sri Lankan Via Capital Agreement had been reached sans a proper procedure. This agreement was presented to the Commission by Secretary of the Sri Lankan Airlines, Dalreen Thirikumar. It was also revealed at the Commission that the Intervista company was not a stakeholder of the agreement. Mrs. Thirikumar said that the related agreement was inked with the purpose of seeking advisory services. As mentioned earlier at the Commission, she said that Sri Lankan Airlines had given a sum of $450,000 to our capital for the preparation of a business structure on behalf of the airlines. Further giving evidence, she has said that 250,000 rupees was paid monthly for 3 months to S.A. Chandrasekhara, who prepared the business plan. Further responding to queries raised by the Commission, Mrs. Thirikumar said that S.A. Chandrasekhara was first appointed for the task and thereafter got the nod of the Board of Directors for the appointment. 2,468 Sri Lankans have been directed for employment in South Korea. This has been revealed by Director General of Korea's Human Resources Development Services, Kwak Hang Jong. He was speaking at a media discussion organized by the Korean Institute of Human Resources Development Services. Kwak Han-jong pointed out that more than 58,000 Sri Lankans have served in Korea. Of them, 44,975 had gone to Korea for jobs for the first time. Sri Lankan workers enjoy the privileges accorded to Korean workers. About 5,000 Sri Lankan workers are offered jobs in Korea every year. They are provided jobs in the construction and fisheries sectors. About 400 who had served in Korea had not yet obtained insurance benefits due to them. This could be obtained from the EPS Center. The 11th International Research Conference of the Sir John Kothawala Defence University commenced today. It will conclude tomorrow.
It is known as the world's most important research seminar on the exchange of knowledge between civilian and defense scholars and academics with their research and academic studies. The theme of the conference is Collaboration is to Acquire Professional Excellence. Its inauguration took place under the patronage of Defense Secretary Kapila Vaidyaratne. The keynote address was delivered by Professor Mohan Munasinghe. Professor Mohan Munasinghe and Dr. Sarath D. Gunapala were awarded with titles Honorable Professors. Vice-Chancellor of the Sir John Kothawala Defence University, Rear Admiral J.J. Gunasinghe, were among those who joined in the occasion. In his address, Professor Mohan Munasinghe said that they are vested with the task of maintaining a balance in the environment for the future generations. We all should contribute to it. This should be done collectively by the government and civil organizations.
When we deplete our natural resources, then there is more conflict. So you have unethical social values. That is a vicious cycle. If you look at the pattern of wars today, there are no wars on weapons of mass destruction. The wars are all for resources, for oil, for water, and for land. Okay? Everything else is a smoke screen. So this cycle has to be broken. And we have to transcend disciplines to do that. I think the Secretary made this point very clearly, that we want to think in terms of multidisciplinary terms. And we need to bring civil society and business to work with government, to push them to strengthen democratic space and provide good governance, and so on.
An independent expert on the effects of foreign debt and human rights of the United Nations Human Rights Council, Juan Pablo Bohoslavsky, has said that the Sri Lankan government should undertake an assessment of the human rights impact of both its economic reform policies and infrastructure projects. The expert made this comment issuing a statement at the end of his 9-day mission in Sri Lanka. He further said that human rights must be at the center of measures by Sri Lanka to promote economic growth that would incorporate everyone.
So today I end my official visit to Sri Lanka, which began on 3rd September. I would like to start by thanking the government of Sri Lanka for its full cooperation before and during the visit. I also wish to thank the UN country team for the support to the mission. The visit had 4 related objectives: to examine the effects of public debt, structural adjustment, fiscal consolidation, and other economic reforms policies on the realization of human rights; to assess the efforts made by the government to curb illicit financial flows; to analyze the effects of international development assistance and lending to Sri Lanka from a human rights standpoint; and D, to study the efforts deployed by the government to integrate human rights standards in the financial sector, with a particular interest on microfinance. The strategy chosen by the government, as recommended by the IMF, was to stabilize the economy by strengthening the fiscal and external sectors. In the views, external indebtedness could help achieve this goal. This strategy also included financing mega infrastructure projects that, jointly with stabilization of the economy, would create the enabling environment to promote sustainable growth. This explains why Sri Lanka's public debt increased significantly over the last years. Neither the government nor the IMF have conducted an ex-ante human rights impact assessment of the economic reforms implemented or announced. This exercise is of paramount importance from a human rights standpoint when, for example, rationalizing fuel subsidies and social security benefits, and when a more profit-oriented logic is introduced into public services or state-owned corporations. In the realm of preventing and combating corruption, I commend the government and the parliament for having established in May this year a special court to handle cases specifically related to bribery and corruption. It is equally important to ensure that the members are appointed on a meritocratic basis, enjoy stability and are independent during the entire tenure, and that the courts are financially autonomous and not subject to political pressure or interference.
2 suspects along with heroin have been arrested during a raid carried out in the Kataragama area. One of them has been identified as the main suspect involved in the distribution of heroin in Kataragama.
The raid was carried out by the Hambantota District Raid Unit in collaboration with the Kataragama police. 35 grams of heroin has been recovered from the possession of the suspects. The police said that its market value is nearly 600,000 rupees. The heroin has been recovered from the house of the main suspect. Operations are in place for the apprehension of the other suspects based on information disclosed by the main suspect. Meanwhile, an illegal distillery that was operating in the production of alcohol on a large scale has been raided. The raid was carried out on a tip-off received by the police. 5 teams were involved in the conduct of the raid. The police also seized utensils used in the production of alcohol.
2 girls aged 14 years are reported to have disappeared from the Tissamaharama area. Relatives claim that these 2 children had gone missing from the 31st of last month. They have lodged complaints with the Tissamaharama and Hakmana police stations in this respect. One of the girls who are studying in grade 10 has taken with her a sum of 25,000 rupees. Information had been received that they had come to a relative's house in the Hakmana area. A receipt obtained after the purchase of a mobile phone had also been recovered. The police, who said that these 2 girls had disappeared from this house, are seeking public support to trace them. An Indian firm has agreed to introduce new technology to increase the production of local potatoes by 80%. The quantity of potatoes obtained from a hectare is in the region of 4 metric tons. It is hoped to increase this quantity to 13 metric tons with the introduction of the new technology. An Indian company has expressed willingness to introduce the new technology and potato variety in this respect. The company is BVG India. A discussion in this regard was held yesterday between the head of this company and Minister Mahinda Amaravira. That's all we have for you today. Prime News is available round the clock and even on the go at www.itnnews.lk. Do visit our interactive site. Have a pleasant week. Good night.